So my next step is to dry brush when I get to this point. So I use the paint a little bit more dense, and I use the brush like I would use a colored pencil. So again, you might need a little bit of practice for this type of work, but once you get how to do it, then I think it gives you a lot of control over the paint. For me, at least, it's like that. So I'm using almost like a cross-hatching technique, because the leaves do have some kind of texture as well. So it doesn't have to be completely smooth. And as you work, the paint on your brush will become less and less. So I start on the darker side where the shadows are, and I work my way to the lighter side. So it might look like you're not doing a lot, but you are putting down paint. So it becomes more and more dark. So as you can see, and I'm just working quickly here. I would probably work a little bit slower in my finished painting. And take a bit more care, but this is a study. And when I pick up the paint, I pick up very, very little. So something like that. It's already enough. And if I think it's still too much on the brush, I just do a few lines on a piece of scrap paper, and then I go in my painting, because you can always pick up more paint, but if you put down too much at once, you might have trouble then getting rid of it. So yes, this is a technique that would take a little bit of time, but if you work with pencils, it's more or less the same thing. And if you want something that is not so accurate, then you can keep doing washes like I just did before until you get to the right darkness. But this here is too light, so it needs to be darker. And even this is too light still. It needs to go darker. But at the moment, I'm just trying this technique. So I will do the same thing on one of these leaves. So this leaf here is quite dark, so I'm going to start from there. And there's a lot of paint in the brush, and I suppose it also depends on the brush you're using. These are the Winsor & Newton brushes, Series 7, and they're really good at holding paint. Maybe sometimes even too much. You have to sort of skim the surface of the paper as well. Don't go too hard, don't press too hard. And it might take a little bit of time, but when you finish a painting like this, it looks really good, really nice and realistic. And if you like to smooth it a little bit, you can always use a clean brush, dip it in water and just dry it a little bit. So it's a damp brush, and you just go over your paint and it will smooth it. So yes, I use this sort of cross-hatching. And I'm going to do the same thing for this leaf. And I just dipped the very tip of the brush in water and cleaned the brush a little bit. Because there was too much paint. And now I'm just going to smooth this. This has some shadow on here as well. So always keep an eye on your reference photo, because sometimes it's easy to just get in the flow of painting and then forgetting to check. So I'm going to make this part here a little bit darker because it's too light. And I need to make this side a little bit darker. So as you can see, it's much more easier to control the paint this way than, well, at least for me, than with the wet and wet. And I might make this a little bit darker still. And in this way, you can take your time. You don't have to worry that the water will dry and then make those marks. Something in there. As you can see, I've been painting quite for a while with the same, without picking up more paint. And there's quite a lot of paint left here. I can see it. I'm not sure if you can see it as well. When I go over the lighter areas, how it makes it immediately darker. So just imagine to have a pencil in your hand and you're just coloring and making it darker. So it's so much easier and more relaxed in a way than try to chase that water and the paint going all over the place. I'm not criticizing, of course, who uses that technique, because people make wonderful paintings with that technique. It's just that I can't really make it work. So I do use washes, but only at the beginning, and then I have to sort of carry on like this, and it's my preferred way of working. And then again, if you want to smooth everything, just with a damp brush, just go over your work carefully, of course, but that's it. So comparing it with this, I think I still like my way of doing it, not painting the shadows before, because the way I work, I think it works better when I do, maybe it's the paper as well, that could be also influencing the final result. But I quite like this leaf more than the ones where the shadow is, because I think it gives it a little bit of a duller effect. But it might be, as I was saying, the type of paper I use that gives off a different effect that makes everything duller when I paint the shadows before. So, but it's nice to try new things, and I will finish this leaf as well, just in case it's and these ones, just in case it's just a matter of adding more color and making it darker. All right, so I've worked a bit more on the leaves, and yes, I will remain with my normal method of not painting the shadows first, but just making the leaves darker and darker as I go, just with more layers. But what I did actually do was to use that darkening mix. This one here, the one made with the Winsor Blue Red shade, Lemon Yellow, Quinacridone Magenta, to paint the shadows. So instead of painting the shadows with it, I will add it to my mix for the leaves to make it darker. So it will be more similar to the color of the leaf. So, it's always good to experiment. You never know what you might learn. And this is actually quite a good thing that I've learned. And this is all for the leaves at the moment. I will carry on painting possibly a few more of the leaves. The next thing I will do is tackle the olives, which pose a different type of well, I wouldn't say problem, but challenge maybe, because they are this sort of variegated color that goes from green to this maroon. So some of them are completely green, but they have maybe sometimes little shadows. So this is going to be quite interesting and fun to do, and I will do that in the next video that I post. Okay, so hope you liked this video, and as usual, like it and share it, and I can't wait for your comments. See you soon.